A sensational night in the Steel City. Clear skies, 70 degrees, and USL soccer all in the forecast at Highmark Stadium as the Pittsburgh Riverhounds host the Ottawa Fury. Good evening, everyone. Ryan Sudol and Albert Munoz with Fan Appreciation Night in Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, two teams eliminated from postseason contention, trying to finish their 2017 USL campaigns on a high note with a victory tonight. And even though they won't be in the USL Cup playoffs, a lot of positives to take away from this season. Pittsburgh already with more points on the season than they had last year. Ottawa, some growing pains in their USL season debut. They look to end their woes and prepare for the 2018 season. And here's who we have to look for tonight on the Ottawa side of the ball, Carl Hayworth.
Absolutely, Ryan. I mean, he's coming in with a lot of momentum. He had two beautiful goals, which basically came at the end of the season, but it will make do for today.
And the hometown favorite from just down the road in Reading, Pennsylvania, Corey Hertzog.
Corey Hertzog, he's had a standout season, scoring 10 goals so far, 13 basically at this point. But he's such a leader. He's essentially a presence up top. He's a great player to watch. And on Fan Appreciation Night, we know that he is one of the players that the fans love as we take a look at the Ottawa starting lineup. Some scoring power up top with Steven Dos Santos and Nicolas Depew on loan from Montreal. Yep, definitely a 4-4-2, very conservative strategy. You're going to be looking at a lot of midfield work between Bruna and Dixon. Always looking for the outside wing play. Always looking for Dos Santos and Depew up top. And for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, not a whole lot of changes. We see Kevin Kerr, Corey Hertzog, and also Kay Banjo up top. They will be who the ball moves through to try and score those goals early on. I agree. I mean, definitely a lot of work on the out wings between Kerr and Parks. A lot of support from Gomez and Earls in the midfield, but Corey Hertzog will make the difference up top. Also, Corey Hertzog's old Tampa Bay teammate, Gale Egbosamande, making an appearance in the starting 11 as well. And also Matthew Perella in goal will try to keep out that Ottawa team that is coming off a nice 4-0 performance against Cincinnati within the recent weeks. And that is how the Pittsburgh Riverhounds will line up. We've got USL soccer. Again, no postseason contention on the line, but pride definitely on the line in Pittsburgh tonight. As the Riverhounds host the Fury, it's coming up right now.
With hundreds and hundreds of pre-owned vehicles for every budget, Number One Cochrane is the one and only place you need to shop.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochrane.com now.
Give me a hug. You did it. Thank you.
Fighting cancer on all fronts. Allegheny Health Network.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
Hello, Shanti. How are you today?
Rose. Good, thank you.
How's this pressure for you, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to do nice and light today for you.
Fighting cancer on all fronts. Allegheny Health Network.
You could spend lots of time searching lots of used car websites. Or just visit Cochrane.com to see lots and lots of vehicles.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochrane.com now.
And welcome back to Highmark Stadium, one of the most scenic views you will see in the USL. The train tracks on that far side and also the mountains directly behind where the fans are sitting. And it is always a nice night here in Pittsburgh. The fans have really rallied around this team, even though the poor run of form recently has given them little reason to hang their heads. They are definitely all here for Fan Appreciation Night tonight and hoping to bring 3 points to conclude their already successful season. Some of the guys that have helped them do that we'll talk about, but right now the national anthem. Now we take a look at some of the top 5 rookies of the year in USL right now. Richard Ballard from Louisville City FC. They have already clinched the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. No doubt everybody getting him up there. Aaron Jones with the Bethlehem Steel. They've also got a chance to move their way up in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Also Colton Storm with Swope Park out in the Western. Has been an absolute beast for the Rangers. And Andrew Tenari for NYRB2, also trying to adjust their standings in the Eastern Conference. Everybody not wanting to get that #8 seed, and they're fighting for that tonight. And also Chris Weehan for Reno 1868, one of the top scoring teams in USL, and doing very good in their debut season as well.
If I had to choose between one of these 5, it's very difficult, but Weehan has had a great of a season, and Ballard was a great player so far. I mean, he's going to have a bright future in this league.
And now we take a look at the coaches for the Ottawa Fury FC. Julian de Guzman, part of those growing pains happened when they lost their old head coach, Paul Dalglish, early on in the season. So de Guzman, again, one of the nicer guys in USL, had a good chance to interact with him in the preseason when they were in Bradenton, Florida. Just one of the nicest guys, and really loves the game and trying to propel his team to victory.
So those are great opportunities, right? I mean, when you have a chance to come in as an interim coach to really make a difference in the rest of the season. I mean, I lived through that back in my days. Coaches came and went sometimes, and the system continues, and I have to make sure that obviously the team will continue to thrive under new coach.
And the home coach, there you see him, Dave Brandt. Not enough nice things that you can say about Dave. He's had success at every single level that he has played at. And again, we mentioned in the pregame how he has already propelled this team to 10 more points than they had last season, and they will look to continue to grow that success moving forward into next year.
He has so much experience. I mean, it really just shows on the field when you are playing under a coach that you want to play for. That makes a difference on a day-to-day, and you just really get motivated when you have someone that inspires you.
And you see the Ottawa Fury in their red kits, white numerals. And Pittsburgh in traditional Pittsburgh form, as all professional teams in that city are. The yellow and black, also
the black and yellow.
The black and yellow as well. But with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, also the Pittsburgh Pirates, all in the Steel City. One of the most neat things in professional sports to have all of them be uniform.
Absolutely, and we had just mentioned how beautiful this night is. I mean, everything from the turf to the fact that you have a spectacular view. The fans get to see the river, and they have the mountains in the back of them. It really brings a lot of motivation for these teams, and it's just everything has to be positive. If you're not in contention, you still have to think for the future. You still have to think for next season. You have a lot of things to prepare, and you want to maybe elaborate on what you want to fix or even improve on for the next season, because this is an ever-changing league. This is ever-improving team, and you have all these veterans that want to come in and really make a difference for the next season. So it's highly important to continue the pace and continue working towards that next and bigger goal.
And you noticed in net, the goals themselves have a pink netting to help support breast cancer awareness. September was pediatric cancer for a lot of the teams, and now in the month of October we have the breast cancer awareness. Pittsburgh wearing pink jerseys last week, so they've moved the pink over to the net for Fan Appreciation Night to give them the home experience as we are now underway at Highmark Stadium.
Yeah, it's highly important to be involved with all this cancer awareness that's going on. I mean, it could hit anyone, and obviously all these players are really, really affected. So, I mean, it's great to see that support, and it's ever growing every single year.
As we often see in these Eastern Conference contests, we'll have those attempts at some long passes. Last week, Pittsburgh got snake bit with an early goal about 24 seconds in that put them down 1-0.
It's highly difficult to come back from. I mean, it's great to watch, it's enjoyable, but for a home team, it's very difficult. But I have to tell you, I've called a couple of Riverhound games, and it's always been during the day. But this stadium, just this river view is just spectacular at night. Great motivation for these players.
And Callum Irving in goal for Ottawa. Looking for Kay Banjo down that left side, tracked by Eddie Edward. Eddie, a very ferocious defender. He's very, very good on that back line. Also has some speed and can get up in the attack at times.
It's very important. I was going to mention that you see these both formations are identical in 4-4-2. I mean, traditionally in soccer, you always have a chance to have a different formation, a 3-5-2 or 4-3-3. And in this league, you have a lot of 4-3-3 formations. But when you have a 4-4-2, there's a lot of a cluster in the midfield, and it's a man-marking game. So it's going to be very tight in the midfield. There's going to be a lot of possession fights. So it's going to be entertaining to see who gets first points in possession to create some opportunities down the line.
Now the Riverhounds, and you see the Fury pressing high, trying to get that early pressure and cause Pittsburgh to maybe cough up a misplayed pass. Now they drop back to the midfield line, and Kay Banjo gets a foot to it. He goes down.
Went down hard. As you always know, first few minutes of the game, you're always fighting for possession. And everyone's very antsy. Obviously, you have to get the nerves out first few touches. And also, it's turf field, so the speed of play is always going to be a little bit increasing. And you have to get adjusted to it. So Pittsburgh's used to it. Ottawa, maybe not so much. So it's a little bit of an acclimation point that they have to go through.
Now Hertzog swings it out wide for Shannon Gomez. Again, that early minutes feeling out period for both teams right now.
Classy touches by Hertzog. Always a good target man to have up top. It's great pivotal play that he creates, and he's obviously a great goal scorer, so it's great to watch again.
Out wide, Gomez had that cross that went just into the hands of Callum Irving. No real threat for either team as of yet. Adonijah Reed. You see Romeo Parks now, and ball given back away. And a shot from distance just mishit. Looked like it was going to be going out for a goal kick. It'll be a throw-in. That was Steven Dos Santos just trying to put something on target.
Now, Ryan, going into the last game of the season for both these teams, you would think, what kind of mindset do both teams have? Is it pride? Is it making sure that they get the last 3 points of the season? Is it improvement in their talent pool? Is it improvement in their system? I would think, based on the calls that we had with the coaches this week, it's all about the future. It's about next season, about prevention injuries, and obviously creating chances for players that haven't had a chance, and also keeping the momentum for the next season. What do you think?
Well, there's also that possibility. You have got teams like Ottawa Fury who have their affiliation with the Montreal Impact. We saw Nick DePew is on loan from Montreal. So these guys and some of these teams that do have those MLS affiliations trying to impress those scouts, because they always have an eye on their USL teams.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's constantly competition, right? So it's another opportunity for you to showcase the young players, have a chance.
Great touch by Gomez, and then tries one too many before being dispossessed.
Now, what we want to hear is every single team to have an affiliate with MLS, right? Every single USL team has to have an affiliate, because that's just constant competition for everyone.
Now Parks gets fouled, and in a dangerous spot for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And a chance at a set piece, either right on target or trying to send something far post. You'll probably see Corey Hertzog standing over the ball in the 6th minute to try to put Pittsburgh up ahead early.
We definitely hope he hits that shot. Very talented in the free kick.
You take a look, Parks.
Yeah, got stumbled there.
Again, Parks a very physical player as well. People are well aware of his history in previous seasons in USL, so Him going down there might be even an act to try to get him frustrated and get him into the officials' book later in the match. Hertzog on the approach, lines one through and just puts it wide left past Callum Irving. But a nice first chance by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
I've seen him do that a few times this season. He's actually scored a couple nice free kicks from that same corner, same spot, same angle. So he's a set piece specialist in my eyes. Unfortunately, he got a little bit over the ball on that.
He's had a couple of spectacular goals and goal of the week candidates. And again, not just a star trying to dribble up through the middle of the field. He can play in from the wing and dribble down the end line to try and create chances as well. Now an opportunity, a shot and punched away. What a save by Matt Perella.
That was an excellent lead up by Ottawa. It was a great through ball, which was properly trapped and well executed, but outstanding save by Pittsburgh.
There you see, that's our player to watch, Carl Hayworth.
You were mentioning him in the pregame. Very sneaky player. I mean, he is a handful for any team. He will create chances just like he did. He whipped it out with the left foot.
Now the outswinging corner into the box takes an interesting touch off the foot of Anwar Abbasi, one of the more imposing forces on that back line for Ottawa, and a nice backheel flick. Now trying to get a takedown, dribbles through, and then finally picked up by Perella, but that was pretty dangerous for the Riverhounds.
Yeah, I like that. I like that chance here by Ottawa, creating sneaky and cheeky plays in the box. I mean, all he needed was that toe poke to try to get it into the net.
Now Perella sends one deep. Just trading kicks with Callum Irving. Eighth minute of play, still scoreless in Pittsburgh. Okay, Banjo giving chase before it's cleared upfield, chested down, and a handball. Kevin Kerr, one of the key midfielders for the Riverhounds, just tried to brace his chest and goes off his hand. Ottawa plays it safe with the quick reset. Now Hayworth. Pressure coming, and looks like he tried to make a little bit of a meal out of that one, but Gale Agbosmande called for the foul.
The boss.
Was also a fan favorite, as was Corey Hertzog with the Tampa Bay Rowdies before coming to Pittsburgh last season.
You're a little biased towards Tampa, aren't you?
Just a little marginally. Carl Hayworth. Recently got a cap with the Canadian national team back at the end of 2016, and that goal sneaks in. Sloppy cross in the back line for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And Ottawa get a goal early, and you can see the frustration on the Riverhounds players' faces.
Seemed to be a pretty dangerous cross, I mean, but at the same time, it went pretty smoothly through all the players. I mean, I think someone could have snapped that ball out.
And it was very crowded, and Nick DePue just found enough to sneak it by Matt Perella. And he will get the Ottawa Fury on the scoreboard.
Well, that's a beautiful set piece. I mean, if I would say any type of free kick that's going to be going into a cluttered box, that's the type of level and the height that it should be played at. Very dangerous to clear out, and whoever's here poaching is going to go in and try to get a goal. So good job by Ottawa.
Now we see Pittsburgh trying to bounce back. We've seen so many times this USL season. Right after a team scores a goal, we've seen some quick counters, and Adonijah Reed will draw a foul, and that's going to be the last talking to for Romeo Parks in the 10th minute, as we just talked about and predicted.
Yeah, that's the ultimate discussion, though. Parks is a tall player, and Reed is relatively short. You could have the discussion that Parks is coming in running with his arms relatively high, and he caught him in the face. So, I mean, at the same time, it was a little bit of an elbow, but nothing major.
The offside. See who that is. I believe that's Joe Greenspan. Fans, make sure to stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM FC Channel 85. Also, don't forget SiriusXM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Please check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. And starting next week, playoffs. That was Joe Greenspan taking the knock for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. He is currently on loan from Minnesota United of MLS. Hertzog fighting for it. Chipped up, Banjo into the box. Tripped away. Corey lines up a shot and deflected away. Kay Banjo able to get it back at the top of the 18. Finds Hertzog again, looking for space. Gets it deflected away by Hayworth.
Those are the dangerous plays that Corey Hertzog's so good at. Very, very sneaky with the ball. I mean, he has great control. He turns and he'll whip in a shot at any chance. Unfortunately, he did ricochet off the defender, but that's the type of play that Pittsburgh has always counted for throughout the season.
Bosamande, and now finally back to Michael Green, trying to find an opening and create from the back. And a relatively clear night in Pittsburgh tonight. Temperatures in the low 70s, probably by the second half fall into the high 60s, so very comfortable weather for these players.
From our past experience playing sports and you know, at the professional level, these are the nights that you want. I mean, beautiful weather, obviously, great atmosphere, great stadium, great view, and just building momentum for the next season. I mean, just making any mistake you need to make now, and obviously create opportunities for your team to improve, which I believe is the bigger mind picture here for both teams.
Parks with the big switch. Now taken away as Ottawa looks to counter. To the far side, you see also one of the more unique views in USL. Now into the box. Crossed out and over and out for a goal kick, but that nice berm that doesn't really have any seats, just the standing room only fans with the train tracks you'll often see during some of the earlier matches. You can see the trains going by in the background, and one of the cooler sights that you don't really get a chance to see at some of these other soccer stadiums.
I don't think there is any stadium that exists that has a train track right next to it. I'm not sure if you could correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a one in a lifetime experience in my opinion.
Now a little confusion and a tackle from Banjo. Center official being very, very quick with his whistle tonight. It's not something that we are always necessarily used to seeing. And another counter opportunity for the Fury. Cutting through, Jamar Dixon dispossessed. Back up looking for the long lob pass into the box, and looked like Kevin Kerr wanted that one down the right side wing. Instead, it just goes back into the hands of Callum Irving.
Well, Ryan, a lot of two-way play here in the first 14, 15 minutes. At this point, everything's settled. You know, everyone's getting their momentum in. Everyone's touched the ball. At this point, you want creativity. You want something secure. Obviously, Ottawa's up, but Pittsburgh is not going to go down without a fight. So they're going to want to really step up the pace here in the next 20, 30 minutes for this half to make a difference. They don't want to go down to the halftime down the goal. So it's on Corey Hertzog to really make a difference as a leader, which he usually does, to really make an impact here for the second half.
We talked about the poor run of form for Pittsburgh in the pregame conversation. 4 losses and a draw in their last 5. As of only a few weeks ago, they still had a chance if they could have strung together a couple of wins to make the postseason. So unfortunate for them, and you know the players are down about it, and they're down about being goal down already. But still with plenty of time to bring this one back.
Yeah, I mean, you have to admit, it's a little demoralizing, right? You're taking a couple losses and end of the season, and you're not in the playoff contention. But as an athlete, as a professional athlete, you have to make sure that you mentally continue strong and obviously focus on the bigger picture. Along with the fact that, you know, it's a gloomy day here for the U.S. national team, obviously in the leagues, and everyone's obviously going through that, and you know, it's really made an impact on everyone to a certain extent. We're all in this together, right? So we were discussing that before the game. Do you think, I mean, you spoke to the coach, you think it really makes an impact to these players currently and moving forward?
Well, in talking with Dave Brent, I did ask him how the team reacted. There are obviously a lot of Americans on the Pittsburgh team, and he said, you know, for the day or two after, everybody was really kind of down about it, but said he didn't expect any effect on the players at game time.
All right. Well, that's important. I mean, as a coach, you want to make sure you're positive and you focus on the next week's game and obviously going into the next season. So
a lot of these players will be playing on both sides of the ball for future contracts, either with their same teams or if their contracts expire. Again, trying to just be continuing playing professional soccer in 2018 as the sport continues to grow. Carl Hayworth, nice chip forward and dangerous tackle by 3 Riverhounds, and finally able to be scooped up by Perella.
Yeah, Carl Hayworth is definitely a handful, like you mentioned. I haven't had the pleasure of watching him too often this season, but he's really making a difference so far for Ottawa. He is that talented player. He's that attacking-minded player who could definitely create a chance or an opportunity for his team. And he has a great shot, so I hope to see him more and make an impact here in this first half.
Hertzog now with the throw. Will drop it back for Jack Thompson. Chipped away from the Riverhounds. And the throw deep into the box. Looking for Kevin Kerr, and Ottawa able to bounce it back out. A little chippy play outside of the midfield circle, and Ottawa wins it and already off to the races. Ottawa Bossy, one of the English players for the Ottawa Fury. This is his 2nd season with Ottawa. Scored his first goal back on April 1st against St. Louis. Also made USL Team of the Week back in Week 12. One of the more accurate passers in USL. Now Hayworth. Wide right to Jamar Dixon. And that will stay with Ottawa. Soccer fans, don't forget Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Now Corey Hertzog getting a talking to, and he's going to get a yellow card, and that most certainly is going to be for dissent in the 19th minute.
It's completely necessary, in my opinion. At this point in time, I mean, what are you arguing? I mean, you have to be smart. As a leader, you have to be smart. As a captain or as someone who's obviously influential in his team, you have to make sure that you're smart with your decisions, especially with the referee.
Corey Hertzog, definitely one of the most passionate players. Had a chance to talk to his coach at Penn State a few years back while Corey was still in Tampa Bay, and he said when he's on the field, there is nobody that wants to win more and is willing to do more to try and create goals and get his team to win. And he said if he could have 11 guys like Corey, he would love that.
It shows. I mean, I've seen him in the highest point of his career, and I've seen him score some spectacular goals. Very talented player. He definitely needs a lot of support.
Parks onside. Shannon Gomez looking for the switch and a little off target, but Gale Egbosamande able to keep it in play. Right now as we enter the 21st minute, Ottawa with the 1-0 lead. Now Ramon Martin Del Campo will send it back to Callum Irving for sending it back into Pittsburgh territory. Nice little give and go first touch pass down into the corner for Reed. Into the box, cross through, and Just missing is Gerardo Bruna. Again, a very quietly one of the better playmakers as well. From Argentina. He missed most of the 2016 season due to injury. And there you see Bruna just having that effort. A tough angle for anyone, especially with the spin that your left foot is going to put on the ball, crossing the goal mouth, and just misses by a few feet.
Well, that was definitely a great lead up by Ottawa. I mean, out in the wing, you had a great possession play here by Obasi and Reed, constantly holding the ball. And then obviously moving up to Bruna, who came in with the left foot. Really shows some class and really shows organization on that squad. They're touching the ball well, and they're creative with their ball. So kudos to them in that last play.
Chested down, Pittsburgh trying to fight to keep it and send it back upfield, but getting bodied, and now they give away the corner kick. That's what happens when you try to do a little bit too much with the ball.
He was trying to do a bicycle kick out of the box. I mean, I'm sorry, out of the back. He got caught a couple times trying to lift it up properly. He was also being pressured, so it was very difficult.
Another corner for Ottawa Fury. Is Carl Hayworth with the outswinger. You see the wind fairly still in Pittsburgh and headed out of the box and almost into the Allegheny.
I think that went over.
Well, if it landed on the tracks, that ball is not going to last long. Into the box, Gallet with a nice sweep, and he is fouled, trying to go down to clear the box. So we will see Matt Perella.
Hounds fans with winning scratch-off cards from Stage AE, Doubletree, Grand Concourse, Joyce's Jewelry, McCormick and Schmidt, and Riverhounds.
Sending his team forward.
Located at the West Gate.
I'm noticing a lot of possession play here by Ottawa. I mean, it seems like they're really holding on to the ball a little bit better than Pittsburgh at the moment. And it's making a difference because essentially you're getting plays that are coming in from the wide wings from Ottawa. They're developing from their back. They're getting their midfielders involved, and they're getting some shots on the goal. So it really shows that they are actually playing a little harder than Pittsburgh at the moment, and it seems like they want it more.
Now Obasi overruns the ball. It'll be a throw for Pittsburgh. It looks like they're calling a foul. And you can see the frustration on Hertzog as he slams the ball down and gives a little sarcastic nod to the official. Ottawa back on the charge. Albert, what kind of effect did that have on you when you felt calls weren't necessarily going your team's way, especially this early in the match?
I was absolutely very similar to Corey Hertzog. I was that passionate complainer. I was constantly in the referee's face whenever I got a call against me or my team. I was usually the captain on my team, right? So not at the MLS level, but at the youth levels. And so I was constantly ripping into referees. So I was that pestering, attacking midfielder that always combated the referee with his calls.
You remember how many yellow cards you received?
I didn't have many. I wasn't a dirty player. I usually got fouled. I was the one that got fouled. But I'd say I had a handful of yellow cards throughout my career because of complaints, not because of any fouls that I committed.
Now Parks.
And looking back, I think I got ejected once in my career.
Joys of playing professionally. And the USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world, featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Make sure you stay up to date with all the latest league news and information by visiting www.uslsoccer.com. Also be sure to follow them on Twitter at USL. It's also where you get your goals and saves of the week and your team of the week. You'll also get all your playoff updates starting next week, as there's a few games going on in the Eastern Conference. 1 through 8 is already decided, but the only guaranteed position right now in the Eastern Conference is Louisville City at number 1.
There's a lot at stake. There's still a lot at stake. All these teams are really battling for that playoff position, but the ones that aren't, they're playing for that pride, and they obviously want development. And just looking at the age range of these players, I mean, looking back when I was playing in MLS, I was 18, 19, 20 years old. These players are 16, 17 playing in the USL and MLS now, and they have the academies, and they have this infrastructure where development is it's taking a little longer than expected, but it's a work in progress. I mean, it takes 20, 30 years for it to really show the fruition. So I have great faith that this system is going to work, and the development is going to be there, and it's only going to improve our national team program down the line where it's much needed.
And Gerardo Bruna looking far post for Nick Depew, and he just skies one wide and over the bar.
Don't forget to visit the Riverhounds customer service table located near the West Gate to renew your Riverhounds season tickets.
You definitely see some young players now in the USL making a difference. The 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds, coming in and playing professionally day in and day out. It makes such an impact in their future. So it's great to see.
And a lot of these teams also with some open tryouts that have discovered some talent as well. It's not everybody necessarily got a chance to get through the U.S. club system, and some of those open tryouts, the guys that get away from the game for a couple of years but still keep their skills sharp, can still make an impact at the USL and also the MLS level.
Absolutely. It's very difficult, but there's players that do go through that system. So, yeah, you're correct.
Pittsburgh now showing a little higher pressure. Cleared back to Ramon Martin Del Campo, and now pressure coming to Abassi. Again, mentioned one of the more imposing figures. He is not a small guy. Headed forward and then bounced around, and Agbosamande almost with a more giveaway there, but Carl Hayworth able to get it back and quickly recovers. That one down for Dos Santos. Cleared out of danger for Pittsburgh. And Hayworth with some room to run. Maybe an opportunity, drops one off for Depew, and that time takes a little bit off it, and Depew wishes he could have had that one back and put just a little more leg behind it.
That was a great chance here by Ottawa. A great development play here. And again, at the heart of it, you have Carl Hayworth, who is the talent player. He's the one that makes that decision. He's the assist man. He came in, he poked it, and unfortunately, Ottawa couldn't get a better shot off. But overall, again, possession is there by Ottawa.
Playing his 4th season with the Ottawa Fury, the longest tenured Fury player. Actually got to his 100th game at Rochester. Also mentioned it earned his first Canadian men's national team cap. That's a team in CONCACAF that is somewhat on the rise, and you see a lot of young talent like Kyle Aaron and some other guys that are very prominent in USL, and good to see them getting those caps. And looking down at USL, we saw in a lot of those games a lot of MLS and USL players playing in CONCACAF, especially during the Gold Cup and also World Cup qualifying.
Yeah, it makes a huge impact on your team. I mean, it just accelerates your motivation as a player to be called up to your national team. It's a huge proud and moment and development for your career.
Now Abassi taken down. And Shannon Gomez losing the size battle, but was able to win. He'll get the foul, but keep the chance away. Now Corey Hertzog has to be careful. Puts a little elbow into the back. Ananija Reed goes down, but definitely did see it.
Yeah, he definitely needs to be careful. I mean, also verbally, but physically, he doesn't need to make unnecessary fouls at this point. Be smart with your fouls, be smart with your tackles. He's too much of an essential player to, yeah, that's unnecessary. I mean, that's a shove that's not needed.
Right in front of the center. And they try again. Hayworth this time tries to put it on target. Last time it was Depew that just sent it wide, and we've seen a few free kicks in USL go in from there.
Yeah, Carl Hayworth, every time he goes out to international duty, he's going to come back a different player. And that happens across the board. I mean, whenever you get that exposure and you get that type of level that you're constantly playing at, it just only improves you and makes you obviously a more mature player. So that's great to see, all these players going through these CONCACAF qualifiers and World Cup qualifiers.
Now the short corner and just goes out for the goal kick. Hayworth thought he beat it. And the assistant referee right on the end line there, able to see that and signal that it went out. Now Perella gets a leg into it. Headed forward, trying to get anything going in their attacking third. They've had some trouble after a few early chances getting anywhere close to the 18-yard box. Good first touch for the Riverhounds and Kevin Kerr. Go back to midfield now, trying to catch Ottawa on their heels and sneak through.
Yeah, Pittsburgh hasn't had many clear chances in the first 30 minutes. They're really just playing reactive to Ottawa's consistent possession. So it's on them to really, try to create something through Corey Hertzog or Kerr, who's also an attacking midfielder. But besides that, I mean, it's been kind of a down day here for Pittsburgh so far.
Now back, Greenspan. Up for Kerr, who's we've seen on both sides of the pitch, both down the near sideline and the far one. Can really help create from anywhere on. Now they give him some space, and Pittsburgh looks to take a little breather and try to create something deep. Headed forward. And Parks looking deep for Gomez, who's able to keep it in. And then finally taken back away again by Abassi. These two have already had one small conflict, and that time Gomez keeps his distance.
Good work by Abassi holding that ball in the corner there. Good footwork, patience.
And a handball as Shannon Gomez jumped to try to get a leg to it. Instead, it goes off his arm, and free kick coming for the Fury. Fans, don't forget you can stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM FC, Channel 85. Also, don't forget SiriusXM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Please check uslsoccer.com for dates and times. And now a yellow card to Gale Egbosamande in the 34th minute. And hard to believe right now, Albert, that we are just about a month away from the end of the season in the USL Cup final.
I know, I was mentioning this to you earlier, that this season, I feel like it flew by. I mean, April, Blinko and I, we're now in middle October looking for playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, time flies when you're having fun, right?
And there is sure to be some fun, as now we will have some extra time periods and potential penalty kicks in the USL Cup playoffs. Hayworth's last attempt from about this distance came close, and now he's got a chance to kind of move the ball however he wants. We'll see if he tries to send this to one of the posts for a header or a volley, or if he's just going to try and take it and effort it himself. See the Pittsburgh players still pleading their case. And one on target gets a deflection, a dangerous one at that. And Perella able to track that through the air and keep that out of the back of the net. Good save for Perella.
Oh yeah, this is the most difficult for the goalies. I mean, goalkeepers sometimes, unfortunately, they're very well prepared for the free kick, but any deflection could cause a goal. And in this case, luckily it was far enough and it just rebounded where he was able to react.
Throw in from Jonathan Barden. Works its way towards the midfield circle. Hertzog with the quick touch pass. Again for Michael Green, and now taken away. That one skies high into the Pittsburgh air. And maybe a chance to possibly create something for Pittsburgh. That was Jack Thompson fighting for it. Now finally some offensive pressure that we've seen lacking, and now with that foul being called, you know the frustration is really going to start to set in, as it's been fairly one-sided in the foul department.
Oh yeah, and also in the possession department. I mean, just 10 minutes left in the half, and we have yet to see a clear opportunity here for Pittsburgh that will make us feel that they've actually had a chance to create. So Ottawa's in possession, and obviously Ottawa's in favor at the moment.
Now already 2 yellow cards for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Been teammates for a number of years. Now trying to find some offense. And Parks and Kay Banjo, and free kick opportunity for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in somewhat a striking distance. So all it takes is one chance to equalize this game, and we'll see who's going to stand over it to try and get that equalizer. Danny Earls right now, and also Kevin Kerr. We'll try to get some spin on this one and have it curl towards that far post, and it looks like all the Riverhounds are looking to make a run. Doesn't look like he got quite the rotation that he wanted to try and curl that into the box. And there is a downed player for the Ottawa Fury.
Interesting set play. I mean, Kerr made a great run. I figured Pittsburgh's going to hit the ball a little bit more close to that run, but he hit it a little bit too wide, so it wasn't much danger in that free kick.
And you often see now, anytime a player reaches for their head or takes any kind of serious contact to the head, they have to do some kind of concussion protocol, and we will see right there.
Yeah, I think Kerr headed him. No, not Kerr.
Joe Greenspan, and yeah, put a head right
Definitely
into his cheek. So I don't know if necessarily that's going to be a...
That's a tough collision. I mean, dangerous.
Don't know if necessarily the concussion, what he's worried about so much is you get hit in that cheek and then it collides and gets sandwiched in between your teeth.
Yeah.
Steven Dos Santos. Again, in a game where you can't use your hands and you have to use your head and your feet only, stuff like this is bound to happen.
Yeah, very high probability.
And you see the head coach for the Ottawa Fury trying to talk a little tactics while they have this short break.
Any youth player, any collegiate player, even professional player has gone through that type of situation. You're going to get collided, you're going to get hit, you're going to get struck. You're going to be in danger every single time you're out there. So just precautionary to be strong and obviously alert at all times.
Now, the show of good sportsmanship will be sent back to the Pittsburgh side. Greenspan and Earls. Mentioned Greenspan on loan from Minnesota United FC of MLS in their debut season. Not the successful campaign on the pitch that they were hoping for, but the fan support in Minneapolis, St. Paul has been fantastic for their new MLS side. Also good to see some of the other success with Atlanta United, setting MLS records with 70,000+ fans at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
That's incredible. Those are great stats. And that's obviously impressive to see. I mean, I was just mentioning to you earlier that I was in Chicago the last couple weeks, and I went to a Chicago Fire game. And the stadium's impressive. Obviously, the audience, the fans are all there. Everyone's passionate. And that's what you need here, and that's what you see. And it's ever growing. The sport in the U.S. is obviously just expanding. And it's only in the beginning of the stages of, you know, soccer-specific stadiums and obviously homegrown players and, you know, 5-year-olds coming up the youth ranks. The future ranks, and just what's the projection going to be the next 5, 10, 20 years. It's bright. You need to overcome this whole hump that we just went through, but I mean it's a good reality check, and I think it's going to be positive for all around.
Couldn't have said it better. Pittsburgh. Come back to Greenspan, and running out of time in this first half. Gomez and Parks. Parks tries to cut one back and get around Reed, and unfortunately just took too heavy of a touch and a bounce that goes out past touch. Now Obasi bombs one in. You see the crisp passing with him, and Steven Dos Santos was trying to find that one. For a guy listed as a forward, he does like to play back in the midfield and try and create space that way. We've seen him trailing well behind some of his midfielders all night. Now with Greenspan. Looking for Banjo, who is offside.
Well, looking at some stats here, Ottawa has 55% on possession against 44 on Pittsburgh. That's clear. I mean, I think it's even closer to 60-40, but so far, first half, I mean, complete Ottawa show. I mean, they've held the ball well, and they've created. Pittsburgh is just chasing at this point. I mean, they had to really sit down in half and go over their tactical and really review case by case, position by position, and see what's going on. Because they have to make a change in the second half. If not, Ottawa's just going to get more momentum and potentially get more goals in.
Bossy with that heavy touch. Hard to get that large body to turn as quickly as you want it to when you run just over the ball. And now Parks finds Banjo. Up for Parks. Opportunity coming. Takes the shot and saved by Callum Irving. And new signs of life for the Riverhounds in the 44th minute, as that was a very smooth and fluid transition from their half into their attacking zone.
Absolutely. I think that's probably the best play of the night for Pittsburgh. I mean, great developed play, great through ball, great touch, great shot, great attempt. Even Corey Hertzog was frustrated because he wanted that goal in. But that was an exceptional attempt here at the end of the half.
That would have bounced off of the hands of Callum Irving. A possible chance for Corey to put the rebound right back in.
Just ready to pounce.
Now the deep throw. Tries to get into the box. Right into the hands of Matt Perella. Perella trying to get the ball deep. Obasi now to Dos Santos, trying to double that lead before the half is over. Being told we're going to have 1 minute of stoppage time in the first half, and aside from the 2 yellows and the goal, it was fairly clean and smooth moving. Obasi now trying to find a cross. He is shoved off the ball, able to stay with it. Still in play. And then finally cleared out for the throw.
Last push here for both teams. Last minute of the game, I mean, of the half, sorry, they're constantly going to look for a chance. They will try to catapult that lead to 2 for Ottawa's side. If not, just hold the ball in possession and run down the clock.
Now Hayworth looking like he wanted to have one of those deep throws, and now we see Gerardo Bruna then headed away. Last chance for the Riverhounds. They look to counter quickly. Trying to sneak one through to Corey Hertzog and intercepted by Bruna, so good recovery after trying to put that one over. Now Hayworth. Probably the last opportunity for the Fury. That deep cross and headed away by Greenspan, and that is how the first half will end after a 9th-minute goal from Nick Depew, the lone player. It is Ottawa Fury 1, Pittsburgh Riverhounds 0, and 2 yellow cards for the Riverhounds. The fans on Fan Appreciation Night hoping for better results in the second half. 1-0 Fury lead.
Realizing you can reach higher is Army strong. As a soldier in the U.S. Army, you'll train on one of the more 150 career fields. You can even qualify for college scholarships. Visit GoArmy.com.
Number 1 Cochrane is the one and only place you need to shop.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochrane.com now.
I'm going to take your right arm out of the gown here, hon. I'm going to take your right arm out. Okay, good. Now you're going to put your right hand up here on this bar. Okay, we're going to take the picture now. Just hold very still. Hold very still. Perfect. Good job. Okay.
Fighting cancer on all fronts. Allegheny Health Network.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
Give me a hug. You did it. Thank you.
Fighting cancer on all fronts. Allegheny Health Network.
You could spend lots of time searching lots of used car websites, or just visit Cochrane.com to see lots and lots of vehicles.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochrane.com now.
Welcome back. Ryan Sudol and Albert Munoz at halftime in Pittsburgh Highmark Stadium. The hometown Riverhounds currently find themselves in a 1-goal deficit on Fan Appreciation Night. And an unfortunate look for them trying to end the 2017 campaign on a strong night. We will look at the first half stats, which were very heavily slanted in favor of Ottawa Fury.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, you have possession. That's clear. I mean, it was obviously not even a stat at this point. I mean, it's a matter of just watching them play. Ottawa has formation done well. They're constantly checking to the ball, holding the ball well, creating chances, and then you see those shots on goal. I mean, target 5 goals against 5 shots on 1. It really correlated into the goal so far.
And Pittsburgh Riverhounds with just the 2 shots, 1 on target. That last late chance in the 44th minute. And oftentimes, Albert, we've seen when the possession stats, sometimes we've seen games where possession is 70-30 and the team with 30 comes up with 2 goals. That's not the case for Pittsburgh tonight. And you see just the 1 offside, so there haven't been a whole lot of crisp, clean runs that, you know, you've had players trying to sneak behind. Players have been trying to play cautious and not be past that back line. But then the 2 yellow cards early on by Corey Hertzog and then Gale Agbossomande really hurting Pittsburgh going forward, as they have to be a little more cautious in how they approach the game. And Corey's already had a talking to from the official after his yellow card, so wouldn't be surprised to see some substitutions in the second half, or we'll see what Dave Brandt is going to do moving forward. That is how we are. Again, 1-0 in favor of the Canadian visitors. The Fury look to keep that going in the second half. We will have more for you at halftime in just a few moments.
All right, next up, what's your name, where you from?
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund Reading.
Why do you not get me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing.
I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels.
After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak.
Meals on Wheels, coming to my door as someone who's housebound, having someone check on me, assures me that I'm not forgotten.
Meals on Wheels has given me a mode of freedom that I wouldn't have otherwise.
We're the clients.
We are the clients.
We are the clients of Meals on Wheels.
America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
At halftime, welcome to our USL studios. Storylines abound in the USL as the season nears its conclusion. Record-setting attendance, just one of the many focal points that we could talk about. It's what we do talk about here. With Morgan Conklin, Mike Watts, big milestones over the weekend. At Rio Tinto Stadium, over 8,000 witnessed as the regular season championship trophy was hoisted by the Monarchs. It's just part of a larger milestone weekend for the league.
And the big story of the league is the USL crossed the 2 million in total attendance mark and became the first North American Division II league to do so.
But it's not the league that does it. It's individual teams with their fantastic fan bases, new homes. They're setting records too.
And that's led by FC Cincinnati with almost 340,000 fans at Nippert Stadium during their home games this season. Also, Sacramento Republic FC averaged a sellout crowd each home game at Papa Murphy's Park this year. Ottawa Fury FC also saw 6 figures in their season attendance.
In total, it's 2 million through the turnstiles. It's a giant increase league-wide.
An increase of 33% so far, and there's still 1 week to play.
So the story is about expansion teams rising, teams falling, playoff hopes, some dashed, some just now beginning to find its legs. We're enjoying all the fans that have made it out so far, many more to come. For Morgan Conklin, Mike Watts for the USL Network, enjoy the second half.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back. It is halftime at Highmark Stadium. Ottawa Fury FC leading the Pittsburgh Riverhounds 1-0 on Fan Appreciation Night. We will have some Golden Boot talk and some first half highlights for you on the other side of this break. You are watching Riverhounds and Fury.
With hundreds and hundreds of pre-owned vehicles for every budget, Number One Cochrane is the one and only place you need to shop.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochrane.com now.
Shanti. How are you
Hi,
today?
Rose. Good, thank you.
How's this pressure for you? Okay?
Yes.
I'm going to do nice and light today for you.
Fighting cancer on all fronts. Allegheny Health Network.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
I'm going to take your right arm out of the gown here, hon. I'm going to take your right arm out. Okay, good. Now you're going to put your right hand up here on this bar. Okay. We're going to take the picture now. Just hold very still. Hold very still. Perfect. Good job. Okay.
Fighting cancer on all fronts. Allegheny Health Network.
You could spend lots of time searching lots of used car websites, or just visit Cochrane.com to see lots and lots of vehicles.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochrane.com.
And welcome back to Pittsburgh. You see the home fans there, the Steel City faithful, as well as the Steel Army, the supporter group, going to try to rally their Pittsburgh Riverhounds to find an equalizer or to possibly take a lead over Ottawa Fury FC. We'll see how we got to this 1-0 place right now with the first half highlights.
It's like Romeo Park's son. Yeah, going into the half, I mean, first half, you have a lot of chances here going in, especially from Ottawa. I mean, constant shots, constant creation, possession play, and beautiful strike here by our player to watch, Carl. So as you see as the game progresses, I mean, you're constantly seeing a battle of possession, but free kicks after free kicks and set pieces, and this is the first goal, so we had a great chance here by Ottawa.
And Depew just sneaks through after a little bounce into the box and then sneaks one by Matt Perella. Not happy about that, just a little sloppy defending by Pittsburgh, but then Ottawa had a few more opportunities. There was Depew again on a nice, beautiful touch from Carl Hayworth, but just unable to elevate that and sneak it into the corner. Then another opportunity, that one going to sneak into the upper 90 on that far post. He tried that a few minutes before to get a header into one of his attackers as well, but unfortunately for the Fury, unable to go in, and then that long shot takes an awkward bounce right in front of Perella. Almost finds its way in the back of the net.
Majority of the highlights so far has been with Carl Hayworth, who has been constant, and that one opportunity that Pittsburgh had, great lead up, great touch, and great shot here by Parks.
Romeo Parks back in the 44th minute, but now coming up to the playoffs, we have to talk about the most valuable player in USL. And the top 5 players up for that, Juan Pablo Caffa from the Tulsa Roughnecks FC, a very important player for the team in the West. Also Chandler Hoffman. Very quietly, the Real Monarchs have been one of the top teams in the West all season long, and he's one of the reasons. Also Dane Kelly, one of the Golden Boot candidates for Reno 1868. Has been fantastic for the expansion side in USL all season long. Enzo Martinez, another one of those Golden Boot candidates for the Charlotte Independents, has again quietly put them in the playoff hunt, and they're fighting for a home playoff game as well. And this guy, Marcel Schaefer from the Tampa Bay Rowdies, coming over from the Bundesliga, used to play with 10 years for VfL Wolfsburg. And good to see him in the MVP conversation. Also a couple other guys with some international recognition on that team. I know a lot of people right now hoping to possibly see Joe Cole and Didier Drogba possibly meet in a USL Cup final.
I have my vote. I believe Enzo Martinez is an exceptional player. He has had a great run this season.
And it's just very odd. We haven't seen a whole lot of East versus West so much this year, so it's been a hard barometer to see exactly how whoever comes out of the East or the West is going to match up against each other in that USL Cup final that we're just about a month away from. But it's going to be interesting to see, especially the way some of the teams in the West have really picked it up in these last few weeks.
You're right. There's a lot of talent out West. I mean, at the same time, that's what playoffs are for, and that's what everyone's challenging for, and that's what everyone wants to get to. So it's going to be interesting to see what is going to happen within the next month.
There you see the banner for the Steel Army, the primary supporters of your Pittsburgh Riverhounds. We will take a look at the power rankings currently after some of these last teams punched their ticket. See that? We just saw some of the MVP candidates, and the Real Monarchs have shown no signs of slowing up all year long. Louisville City currently in action right now, taking on the Richmond Kickers, and then Reno. So a nice East-West mix right there. And after a while, we talked about the Tampa Bay Rowdies a little bit. Looked like they were kind of slipping. They had moved down to the 6th or 7th place in the Eastern Conference and have quietly moved up to number 2 and hoping the results go their way to keep that 2 spot going into the playoffs next week.
That's your team, Tampa Bay Rowdies.
And also Swope Park, OKC Energy, and the Tulsa Roughnecks, also with a lot of talented players in the West. And again, it's been a fantastic season, and it's a shame that we have to conclude the regular season tonight because we've had so much fun since the beginning of March, and even some of the preseason contests that we had a chance to see, and just so much of this young talent, and especially this year with every USL game being able to be broadcast and easily accessible to all the USL fans. It's been just such an amazing season for the USL, and approaching that 2 million fan mark from fans through the turnstiles.
Yeah, those are incredible stats, and great that you point out that it's exposure. I mean, all these players now, they're streaming. Obviously, everything's on TV, everything's on some kind of paid channel, but you have a streaming device that could actually let you watch professional soccer. So this is amazing for the exposure of all these youth players. Along with the fact that, as you mentioned, it's the end of the season, but how exciting is it going into the playoffs? I mean, knowing that that's what you work for all season. All these players either strive for the playoffs or strive for momentum and competition. So either way you look at it, it's all positive. Everyone's playing, everyone's competing, everyone's obviously keeping on edge because you have to. It's professional sports. It's very competitive.
And we see the Riverhounds and the Ottawa Fury warming up and getting ready for the final 45 of their 2017 season. See if Ottawa has it in them to expand their lead and leave Pittsburgh with 3 points and the home fans disappointed, or see if the Riverhounds can rally and find that equalizer and possibly take a lead for the fans on Fan Appreciation Night.
Well, it's who you play for, right? I mean, for your team, your heart, your pride, but your fans is what keeps you going. I mean, you want loyal fans, and they're going to come and root for you, and it's just that inspiration you get when you get on the pitch and you have your family and your friends and your fans supporting you no matter what. This is what's going on tonight. And both these teams, and they're not in contention for the playoffs, but their fans are out there supporting because they know they need it, right? They're loyal through thick and thin. So it's great to see that. And obviously, it's like I said, it's such a beautiful night for soccer here at Pittsburgh.
And that's also one of the great things about soccer is you see so much in other American sports that when a team is not succeeding or doesn't make the playoffs, you see some drastic drop-offs in attendance. But the soccer culture, and especially the team-specific supporter groups, are just a fantastic addition to the American sports landscape, and it's only growing. So many soccer fans go to a match and they hear the cheering and the drums for 90 minutes, and it definitely entices them to come back as we kick off the second half. Pittsburgh going right to left on your screen for the final 45. Ottawa Fury starting off strong. Carl Hayworth with an opportunity up top. Instead, passed back away. And then Gerardo Bruna and a diving save. And it looks like we may have had a keeper substitution. And now a chance.
I think Perella might have changed his color. That's what it was. I think it's the same player, but I think he changed his jersey. He had a pink shirt on, Ring. Now it looks like he has a dark shirt.
Now a goal kick. We'll get that for you as Callum Irving remains in goal. Otherwise, no substitutions for either side.
Yeah, usually you'll see a change maybe in the 60th, 75th minute in that range. when players start getting obviously fatigued, their legs are getting exhausted. I mean, players need to, get an opportunity or, rest. So at this point, you're going to let the momentum ride from the first half.
And now up for Corey Hertzog, and just intercepted, nowhere to go, and instead just heads it downfield. Booted back for Pittsburgh and kept in play by Kevin Kerr. Hertzog up for Kerr. And down the sideline, and quickly on the recovery, Jack Thompson.
It's interesting, not too common. The whole jersey swap at halftime. You notice that, pink to black for Perella, sorry. Wonder what that was.
Head back to Irving. Perhaps there was too much of a conflict with it, with being a shade of red.
Could be. But it's definitely Perella in the goal.
And now the takedown and a foul. And the official having a talk with Gale Balsamande. Looks like he wanted to reach for a card, but nothing shown yet. And put an elbow pretty close to Gale Balsamande's face, and that shows intention. Looks like it's going to go unbooked. And that is not going to make the Riverhounds faithful very happy. That was a clear foul, which was called, but no card. And we know a few Fury players have been talked to by the center official, and instead they go unbooked.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with the boss. Those fans will take that serious. They'll take it to heart.
Booted forward and touched out. Now Hertzog to turn at midfield as Kerr tries to get a little run down that near side, and in the middle, Banjo finds Hertzog. And he takes the big swinging look for Romeo Parks. That one headed away. Chance for Pittsburgh, and Banjo giving chase. Knocked down by Danny Earls, and Pittsburgh looking to have had a very successful talking to by Dave Brandt in the halftime talk.
Yeah, I noticed a little bit of a difference in their speed of play and their sense of urgency. Definitely picked up the pace.
Now Greenspan fighting for it. And a shot and saved. It does look like it is Perella, but he's wearing a completely different kit.
Oh yeah, different jersey name and everything. Unless there's a very similar looking goalkeeper for his team.
Now Parks tries to get into the box, tripped up and taken away by Abassi. See, nice effort by Nick DePue. He's had a few good shots on target, definitely leading the Ottawa Fury in that department tonight. As Ottawa looks to build and looking for that lead doubling goal.
Yeah, Ottawa has the luxury of being patient. They have the ball, they have possession. They have the momentum. They're up by one goal, so they have the luxury to really hold the ball and create. So it's a little bit of an advantage for them.
Now on the charge, Parks been able to create space all night. Hertzog tries to one-touch it, tries to finesse it and sneak it under the bar and around Callum Irving. Just gets a little too far under it, but Pittsburgh showing some good chances early in this second half.
I was definitely a little bit ambitious, but I applaud the attempt. It's always great to see a creative shot on goal.
Thanking our Fan Appreciation Day partners for their contribution for tonight's promotion.
Callum Irving. And it was, in fact, a wardrobe change for Perella. And it was exactly why we said the pink was a little too close to Ottawa's red jerseys. So he has switched to a completely different kit for the second half. Now Hayworth into the corner, the cross, and that'll be a corner kick. Jonathan Barden for the Ottawa Fury was trying to get that across the goal mouth and have a Fury player there to pop one in, but stay just one goal ahead of Pittsburgh. 53rd minute of play. Now Bruna tries to slide one in. Gomez, and then finally cleared back, and Reed is able to keep that completely unmarked. Tries to cut into the 18, slides one through, and kicked away by Agbosamande.
It's a good chance for a counterattack here by Pittsburgh if they take advantage of it.
Now you see Hertzog in a dead sprint. And cut back, but with the ball in their attacking half. Now Michael Green. Up for Banjo. And just misses Parks, but here's Jack Thompson approaching the 18. Nice move. Parks trying to find Hertzog, and just outside of his reach. And sent back for the Fury.
I like the idea, though. They're touching the ball in small quarters, so it's quick pace action. Trying to develop some kind of attacking play here.
Nice pass forward. Up for Hertzog, give and go with Banjo. Now Kerr joins the attack, tries to cross one through. Kerr will get it back. Lobs one through, trying to find Jack Thompson. Shove in the back of Jonathan Barden, and then finally cleared out pass for the Pittsburgh throw. Kevin Kerr will drop this. Allow Jack Thompson. Dangerous pass back as Nick Depew was putting on a lot of pressure. Parks trying to win it back for the Riverhounds. Back for the Fury. Eddie Edwards up for Depew, and that will track back towards the keeper Perella. After those first few kind of quick rushes that we saw from Pittsburgh and Ottawa, things have started to slow down a little bit around the midfield and allow some other opportunities. Fans, don't forget the USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world, featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Be sure to stay up to date with all the latest league news and information by visiting www.uslsoccer.com, and be sure to follow them on Twitter at USL. And no doubt we'll have our goal and save of the weeks that you'll have to vote for the final week of the regular season of this 2017 USL campaign. So have a couple of candidates. I know we've heard some other pretty good goals going on.
It's going to be difficult. Been a lot of good goals and saves this season. It's going to be entertaining to see who wins.
Now Kerr back for Parks. And Gomez and Parks trade passes. Kerr looking for Gomez. Chance. Corey Hertzog in front of the face of goal, and also Kay Banjo, but intercepted, and Abassi is able to save that goal for the Ottawa Fury.
Different Pittsburgh team second half, completely. More chances, more energy, creativity, it's all there.
More crisp tackling and crisp passing as well from the Pittsburgh side. Here's that last chance, making that charge, and had an wide open Kay Banjo and Corey Hertzog had the runs that they were supposed to make, and unfortunately went for where Kay Banjo was sitting. And
Obasi came in and interrupted that play well.
Now it looks like we have a down player, Steven Dos Santos. That would be a big loss as he is sitting over by that side railing. Here in the 57th minute, that would be a significant loss for the Ottawa Fury. Steven Dos Santos, he is the club's leading scorer this year with 10 goals. His goal against Charleston broke Tom Heineman's club record for the most goals in a season. Dos Santos has 13 goals in all competitions this season, also going back to the U.S. Open Cup. I'm sorry, the Voyager Cup. Ottawa Fury playing in Canada. Now Hertzog, nice for Parks, and touched up and out of play. Parks again. Back for Thompson. Scoreless second half, but we, as you mentioned, Albert, have seen a different Pittsburgh team.
Completely different. Very different mindset. Seems like they had a few Red Bulls in the halftime because they're just quicker on the ball and they're creating and they're keeping possession well, and the give and goes are coming into fruition finally up top.
Into the box for Jack Thompson, and offside whistle. It's also cooled down probably a degree or two, so as you start sweating and running back up and down the field, that little extra chill is nice to keep you in good form.
Oh yeah, there's definitely no need for fatigue tonight. I mean, this weather is very beneficial for you as a player, and second half comes around. Unless you're constantly in the flank playing up and down, you should be reserving your energy a little bit more than any other heated field.
Irving sends that deep. Now Kerr giving him some space. Hertzog wanting one, goes out wide, possible crossing chance for the Riverhounds. Nice touch into the box, and then again skipped out, and an opportunity from distance. I believe that was Danny Earls taking the shot, but Callum Irving sliding to his right and able to corral that one.
Kevin Kerr showed some frustration on that run. He felt that he needed that 1-2 back to him because he came from the back. Great development play, hit the ball up top to Banjo, but unfortunately he looked out wide. But Kevin Kerr is definitely making an impact in the second half.
Riverhounds now looking to try and catch them off guard on some of those long airborne through balls. And Parks, you see his speed, and Earls with a nice sliding challenge. Jack Thompson looking for somewhere to go with it, opts to go back to the midfield circle. Trying to find Banjo. Fights for possession, and now pressure coming from Thompson, and just a little too heavy on the tackle. Will send it out for a goal kick. Jack Thompson also from that left back position has started to join the attack a little bit more, which has kind of changed the face of this Pittsburgh offense.
Well, it definitely helps. I mean, you have your flank players who bring up a lot of energy and creativity. It will help the wingers and it help the forwards. So it's always entertaining to see your flank players coming up and down with energy. And if they could do that all 90 minutes, that's going to make an impact on your team.
Now Green out wide. Taken away by Obasi. Shannon Gomez has had a couple of opportunities to get a cross into the box and try and get some offense to get this equalizer and let the fans go home happy from Highmark Stadium tonight. with at least a point. Small opportunity for Bruna from distance after the pass from Depew. Instead dropped back to Abassi. Forward for Depew, trying to track it after he lost it. He goes down. Greenspan trying to create some space to get the ball back upfield. Kerr. Nice touch for Green. Couple options for Banjo. Goes to Romeo Parks out wide.
Much better possession play here by Pittsburgh. They're playing risky, obviously they're creative. This is the chances that they're going to get.
Been fantastic on their short passes, and Corey Hertzog running to take the pass, and now there is another downed Fury player. And just as we were talking about no fatigue, we see a couple players cramping up.
Interesting. Pretty early on. Usually see that in the 75th, 80th minute. But again, we're talking about end of the season, right? Months and months on end of soccer.
I know there are some supporter groups in the USL that often criticize Ottawa of using this as a tactic to try and take some time off, help give the players a rest. You know, if you take a look on Twitter after you follow USL, you'll see a lot of complaints about that when the Fury are playing sometimes. But with the 1-0 lead, you sometimes need to do whatever you can to protect it.
It comes with the territory. I mean, that's natural, and you see that at all levels. You're going to kill time if you're ahead, and you're obviously going to want to make sure you're patient with the ball, and you're going to obviously take your time with the throw-ins and the free kicks and any injury. I mean, obviously, it's not something to be proud of, but it's part of the game.
See, also with some of these cramps, we'll see what happened to Ottawa Abassi that caused him to go down. Looks like his ankle may have, when he came down after the kick, may have just done one of those little, when your toe comes down and roll your ankle a little. Looks like it may have just had a little bit of that, and they're going to be calling for a substitution for Ottawa Abassi. We'll see who comes in. He will also take his time departing the pitch. And coming on for Ottawa Fury will be number 26, Thomas Miller-Giguère, another Canadian player. He captained the Canadian men's national U20 team at the 2017 CONCACAF Men's Under-20 Championship last year. Made his Fury debut April 22nd as a stoppage time sub, and also played for Canada, Quebec at the 2017 Francophone Games.
Bossy is a big loss for Ottawa. I mean, it's a great player out wide, great technical player, physical player, well-rounded. Looked like it was like some kind of groin injury too. I mean, it was ankle or groin. It was one of those two. Either or. I mean, it's the last game of the season. I mean, at this point, he needs to, you know, preserve his injury and nurse it back to health for next season. Plus, it gives an opportunity for some of the younger players to come in and showcase their talents.
So we'll see how Thomas Miller-Giguère fills in at that left back role, and perhaps that's the substitution that might help propel the Pittsburgh Riverhounds to try and get a score. But first, Barden to Depew, and it takes a deflection.
It's an unfortunate turnover there by Corey Hertzog. Created a little counterattack for Ottawa. Depew's been an impact. I mean, he's had a couple of shots, he's had a couple of chances. Dangerous player up top.
You see that chance, and in a game of inches, any kind of deflection is not something that Matt Perella wants to see.
Absolutely.
Barden with the header. Out past touch. Doesn't look like we have any subs coming up for Pittsburgh just as of yet. Again, 2 players on a yellow card. We're in the 67th minute. Corey Hertzog getting one back in the 19th, and Galeyeg Balsamande in the 34th. One of the other nice things about some of these intimate stadiums in USL is when you get to some of those bigger levels like the Premier League and whatnot, you don't really get a chance to hear some of the player chatter on the field or some of the coaches screaming out what they want their players to do. Is also a great benefit to the American fan to attend these USL games, and it gets you a really, really intimate feel at just about every single USL stadium.
And we mentioned that before in pregame. I mean, going back into our history in the MLS and obviously in the USL. Remember, the MLS started in the 90s, right? And I had an opportunity to play in 2001 in Raymond James Stadium for Tampa Bay Immunity, and we had a 10,000, 15,000 max crowd every game, home game, and we played. And you mentioned 74, 75,000 capacity in the Raymond James Stadium. So we felt it was an empty stadium. So we didn't have that feel, and we didn't get that momentum and that enthusiasm. So we always felt it was empty.
And the handball against Adonijah Reed.
So going back to your point, I mean, it really makes an impact of constructing these, soccer-specific stadiums that are going to fill to capacity at 25,000, which can really, provide a completely different atmosphere for a fan and for players. Makes all the sense in the world.
One of the newer stadiums, Orlando City Stadium, the home to Orlando City Soccer Club of MLS, OCB of USL, and also the Orlando Pride of NWSL. Had a chance to attend a few matches there this season, just one of the more intimate settings. As Parks tracks that out for a goal kick, but you see all these new soccer-specific stadiums going up in the United States, and talks of expansion, not just in the USL, but also in MLS. And you see these communities starting really to rally around the soccer fandom that is starting to grow in the United States.
That's definitely what needs to happen. And there was always talk about that 10, 15 years ago. I mean, that's what needs to do, what we need to do to catch up with the world, to be like the world. We don't need to be like the world. We just need to do what we do, but do it in the scale that the world does it, which is the correct way. I mean, you need to have the infrastructure down. You need to obviously have the youth system. Obviously, you need to get the best players, no matter if they can afford it or not. I mean, the whole pay-to-play system does not work, and we all know that. You get the best players, unfortunately, from the grassroots area. And those are the players that play at all levels, at all times, and they're obsessed about soccer. And those are usually ones that are going to be the most talented. So it needs to happen that way, just like it happens in the rest of the world. And you will see an increase in quality of players and deeper pool for the U.S. national team. So the U.S. is doing it in every way now. It just takes time.
And the growth of soccer is, again, getting bigger and bigger, and that will eventually correct itself. But not without some outside forces, and again, the excitement of the USL playoffs coming up is definitely going to be one of those things that helps expose. Had a few games on the big mothership on ESPNU this year, and getting some big national audiences, getting to see the product that USL provides, and letting people know there's more than just the MLS in the United States.
Very important, very important. Because it shouldn't just be considered, oh, it's the MLS. It should be considered the U.S. soccer. I mean, MLS, USL, all the leagues that we have, going down to our middle school, high school, collegiate, and obviously semi-pro level, all the way up to USL and MLS. So those are all, that's how we should reference soccer in the U.S. And just everyone needs to be on the same page with the same goal, which is obviously just becoming better as a nation, to compete in World Cups and obviously be very attractive leagues around the world.
As we enter the final 20 minutes, Callum Irving booting one across midfield. Jamar Dixon out wide for Hayworth. Hayworth dribbles towards the top of the box. Dixon for Gerardo Bruna. Pittsburgh now giving Ottawa a little bit of space to try and pass around and find that seam. Cut through that midfield and penetrate that back line. Now Bruna. Dixon. Back wide again for Barden. Into the box. Reed fighting for it. Cleared away by the Riverhounds. Jack Thompson, his last 20-25 minutes has been spectacular, both on defense and in the attack. Substitution for Pittsburgh. Michael Green will step off. And coming on for him will be Stephen Okai. So subbing off a defender for a midfielder. They will for sure try to put some extra pressure on.
When a minimum, try to get that point. There's no need to take a loss at home, no matter what. So they have to be more aggressive at this point, a little bit more attacking soccer. Try to expose themselves more up top as opposed to just being so defensive. Ottawa's a very good possession team, so it's very important that they win that midfield with more midfielders and create more attacking plays.
Stephen Okai, 5'10", 180 pounds, out of Accra, Ghana. Also a well-known city for providing some very decent American soccer talent. Tallied his second goal in his Pittsburgh Riverhounds career against Richmond back on August 5th.
You can also keep up to date with USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL.
Wide yet again for Barden. Able to beat one, and there's Matt Perella able to stop that Fury attack. And we'll see what Pittsburgh does on this possession. There's Okai. Looking for someone on his Riverhounds team to make a run. Get open to pass. Said they'll take a quick breather and trade possession on the back line. Bosamande to Kerr. Now the Fury midfield starting to tighten up a little bit. Okai asking for his players to make some runs. Now Kerr, and they see the Riverhounds slowly inching toward that midfield circle and now trying to set a run up. Hopefully maybe get a bad touch from that back line for Ottawa. Okai maybe with a bad giveaway and a score-saving tackle. There we see Jack Thompson. They're going to say he got the ball, but tangled up with Adonijah Reed's ankles, and you saw Jack Thompson getting up gingerly as well. Now the sprint for Kerr. Shoved off the ball, no foul.
Okai with a couple interesting touches there right off the bat. Made a mistake in that turnover, but quickly recovered with a good through ball here. It's tough to come in, obviously, in the 70th minute and make an impact. Obviously, you have to be really warm, ready. Cannot make any mistakes in the first couple touches because you lose momentum and confidence, but seems like Okai was going to be okay.
Looks like Ottawa getting ready for a substitution as well. Now like Bosamande for Kerr. And out wide on the big switch, and they get the touch. They are in their attacking half. It's been a few minutes. Parks looking for a cross maybe. Up top for Okai. Tries to sneak it through, looking for Banjo. Puts it up for Hertzog, but cleared away. Earls fighting for possession. Back for Banjo. Nothing on the attack. Banjo tries to get a slick move, and the penalty is awarded for Kay Banjo. His legs got tied up. That with Eddie Edward. And the Fury pleading their case, and the Pittsburgh fans are excited to see that. And we'll see who's going to step up to the spot.
Wonderful opportunity here by Banjo. Great footwork. He just created that out of nothing. Basically tried to do a step over. He got tangled. He yielded a penalty kick. This is what they need. I have a feeling that's going to be Corey Hertzog to take that penalty kick.
From just down the street in Reading, Pennsylvania, Corey Hertzog approaches the penalty spot to try and find the equalizer for the Riverhounds.
Now maybe you could agree with me or disagree, but right footers usually go for that left side of the goalie.
And Hertzog does, and he sneaks it in. Corey Hertzog brings the Pittsburgh Riverhounds back level with the Ottawa Fury. It's 1-1. In the 77th minute, the home fans get what they want. And now you can see the momentum possibly shift in this last 10 to 15 minutes. Lance Roseboom is going to come on, one of the more physical players, and we see Hertzog just sneak it right. You called it.
That's a well-struck penalty kick.
And it looked like Callum Irving initially guessed the right way and then cut back at the very last second. Hertzog with the inside of his right foot.
This could definitely change the pace of the game now. We're tied up. You have a little over 13 minutes left, and it's the last game of the season. So this is all about pride at this point. You're at home. You want to make sure you leave a good taste in your fans' mouth.
And for Lance Roseboom, he has been a captain for the Fury. Saw his streak of 43 straight matches come to an end against Bethlehem. Missed only his second game of the season against OCB. But Lance Roseboom is a guy I got to see a lot of in the preseason as well. A very physical body in the midfield, similar body style to Anu Abasi. Also not afraid to take some shots from distance. Hertzog with a run, trying to get by. He does, it's still inbounds, and they are going to call it late, but Corey puts it in. And they're going to say offside.
Talk about a potential goal of the year, if that would have been a goal.
That would have been goal of the week for sure.
What a beauty.
And Corey Hertzog with a fantastic strike, but you could hear the whistle in the background. And now there are currently 2 game balls on the pitch.
What a comeback that would have been, huh?
Hertzog on that great first touch, and then the delayed call by the assistant referee. Now Parks. Hertzog for Parks, onside. Deep cross. Hertzog trying to line up a volley or push it out wide. Instead, it's the Fury going the other way.
Great little show that they're putting on at the last few minutes here.
And you see Hertzog from about 30 yards out. The perfect touch sneaks in, and I think he heard the whistle as well. You can see the Steel Army letting off their celebratory smoke. Only a little bit premature, but still plenty of time to find that go-ahead goal. Momentum right now in favor of the home side.
Sometimes that's all you need. Some momentum, a little confidence, get that last 10-minute stretch here. Hopefully we get some action.
And Balsamande. Now for Okai. Couple runs being made, and you see the Fury back off a little bit. Kevin Kerr. Okai dispossessed, and the foul on Okai as he puts a shove into Steven Dos Santos.
There will be a 20-minute autograph session on the field following tonight's game. Fans may enter the field at the east.
Pittsburgh and Ottawa level after 80 minutes of play. Now Bruna sends one deep. Depew gets by, lines up a shot, and a beautiful sliding save by Galeyek Balsamande. Depew has just been electric for the Fury tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely created some chances. I mean, he's dangerous. He knows he's a target man. He knows how to hold the ball well, which is very important. And he's unleashed a couple of good shots.
And a lot of those lone players from MLS, you can see their skill. And take a look as Depew just about inches away from sneaking one under Gale and possibly a go-ahead goal for Ottawa, and that would have taken the wind completely out of the sails here at Highmark. Banjo fighting. Beautiful flicks to himself and able to create some space and get out wide for Hertzog. Now back to Banjo. Drew the penalty just moments ago. Parks onside and maybe gave up on it a step too soon. It looked like it started dying as it got back towards that end line, and again, we've talked about it before. Substitution. Number 11, Cito Sione, also a very electric playmaker for the Fury.
I'm surprised he wasn't playing more. Great talent during the season.
The Spanish player out of La Coruña. He's actually scored the fastest goal in Fury history, 38 seconds into a match. Scored his 5th goal of the season against TFC2. Also scored twice in the Canadian Championship.
Ottawa substitution,
Cito Sione. Again, those fresh legs will definitely give Ottawa Fury some attacking opportunities in these final moments. Roseboom. Actually, in the preseason, had an opportunity to see Ottawa play. Lance Roseboom actually was shown a red card after a VAR review as that one sneaks across the face of goal. Hayworth stays with it. Pressure coming, and now Roseboom. Shot from distance, and that one takes a deflection and goes out.
Highly entertaining in the last 15 minutes of this game.
After that first Ottawa goal, play kind of slowed down a little bit. Now this corner kick and the substitutions for the Fury have escalated the pace of this game in the final few moments of the 2017 USL season. Trying to get the cross through, and again, Greenspan very quietly has been one of the better defenders on that Pittsburgh back line, has had some key saves over the last 30 minutes. Now the last little breather for both sides before the final 110% that these guys have left in them gets ignited, and now Kerr up for Banjo, who shoved off the ball. The foul whistled against Roseboom. Okai deep for Hertzog, trying to keep that pace that he's so famous for. Guarded by Edward. Up for Kerr. Coming into the box. Kerr slides through. Pokes one. Hertzog from the top of the 18 fakes that last finesse shot he tried to make, and instead draws the corner kick for Pittsburgh. Had me fooled and just about everybody else on the pitch as well.
That's smart soccer. Yielded a corner kick last 5 minutes. Potential opportunity here.
And look for the head of Greenspan, one of the taller Riverhounds players. I think it looked like Corey Hertzog was mad that he may have been shoved in midair. Now Gale Balsamande finds Okai. Parks flailing his arms around, and Lance Roseboom is not a guy that you want to frustrate.
couple decent substitutions for both teams. I mean, they've really come in and made an impact. Players like Roseboom, like you mentioned, and Cito Sione, which I'm surprised was on the bench. Usually starts and usually plays and makes an impact. And Okai has definitely come in and been a positive change here in the midfield for Pittsburgh.
And Hertzog fouled. Again, fakes the quick restart. This will be Jack Thompson standing over the ball. Kevin Kerr talking with the center, trying to possibly ask for the 10-yard wall. Now Kerr just sneaking out into the corner, finds the head. Hertzog is just offside. He pokes it through again, but the flag is up for the second time tonight. What could have been a hat trick for Corey Hertzog on Fan Appreciation Night is just the penalty goal and the 2 offside. That one dangerously close.
Yeah, it's unfortunate and frustrating at the same time, as we see here. I mean, that was a very close call. Just a slight foot off. But to be disqualified in two goals in one night, I mean, that's definitely frustrating for Herzog. And one was a beautiful strike, and this one was a great poaching goal. Would have been a decisive matter here in the last couple minutes. Well, that's the way it goes.
One of those goals, a spectacular strike, in that last one, just about a foot offside. That's all it takes in soccer. And now the takeaway. Banjo finding space, trying to find Corey Hertzog. Will the third time be a charm? Tries to curl it and just into the hands of Callum Irving. Again, very close to sneaking into that upper 90, and instead Irving was ready for it. Now in the 89th minute, looks like that is Jack Thompson, and he took a little bit of a poke in that 50-50 ball. Looks like he might have landed on his tailbone and stayed down for quite some time. There you see, yeah, just got a little hip check and landed.
That turf field does hurt sometimes. You got some elevation there as well.
Having some words with the AR in the last little water break. Jack Thompson, maybe one last rush for each team to try and get ahead and end their season with 3 points. Looks like there may also be a substitution in the offing, possibly 2 for Pittsburgh. And we will in fact see Benjamin Fitzpatrick come on. And he will come on instead of Jack Thompson.
For Riverhounds substitutions, number 21, Ben Fitzpatrick, on for number 18, Kai Banjo.
So Kai Banjo.
Washington, on for number 3, Jack Thompson.
And 5 minutes of extra time in this final match of the 2017 USL season.
Plenty of time for another goal.
There will be a minimum of 5 minutes stoppage time at the end of the game. A minimum of 5 minutes stoppage time.
Taylor Washington also checking in. Washington from the New York area. Actually got an assist in the season opener against Red Bulls 2. Headed forward and finally scooped up. That was Ben Fitzpatrick. We enter the second minute of second half added time. Hayworth trying to create. Roseboom. Back for Bruna. Looked like he wanted to rip a shot on distance. Sneaks one in for Sione in the box. Lines a shot, and it is saved by Perella.
A dangerous play there by Okai. I mean, you can't lose the ball there in the middle, especially in the box at this point in the time in the game. There are moments where players need to step up, obviously be conscious of their situation. A few minutes left in the season. No injuries, no mistakes. Play for pride and play hard and try to get that 3 points.
To set one in for Sione again. Parks. The nice fake, and now space created for he and Kerr.
Is that Usain Bolt?
And Ben Fitzpatrick. Parks looking like he wanted to line one up. Now Fitzpatrick trying to get the cross up and through. Hertzog just inches away from getting ahead to that as we're in the 93rd. Another booming kick from Callum Irving. Jumping volley to clear that out of the Riverhounds home half.
Going back to that last run from Parks, we forget how physically commanding he is. He's such a presence. He's so fast, tall, strong, and skillful at the same time. So he's that very complete player.
On the sideline, Sione, good first touch, tries to line up a deep cross. And it is Jonathan Barton trying to cross it right back, headed away by Ekbasamande. Kept in by Hayworth. Now Hayworth looking to find that go-ahead goal. A beautiful touch by Hayworth, but too strong on that little scorpion heel. See the fresh legs of Fitzpatrick running all over the field, using all the energy he has left to try to get this Riverhounds team 3 points. Up for Sione. Hayworth, maybe a chance finds Sione. Going down in the box, and Greenspan able to get the clearance. And they'll whistle the foul against Sione.
A little feistiness there between the two.
And you can see the fatigue starting to set in on all the players around the pitch. Hands on knees, hands on hips, trying to get that last stretch to see if there's enough gas in the tank for one more. And a foul whistled against Danny Earls.
This might be the last attempt. That'll be a good one. Good cross, aggressive.
That is very dangerous for Callum Irving, coming that far off his line to try and use that strong goalkeeper's leg to put something in the box. Possibly the last minute of the season for both of these teams. Whipped in for Sione, and too strong. And we'll see if some of the extracurriculars that happened in the last 5 minutes, if maybe there's one more, or maybe the last kick of the year for Pittsburgh. And that is it. The final boot off the foot of Matt Perella concludes both the Riverhounds and the Fury season. And after 90 minutes plus an extra 5 in the second half, we tie 1-1 Riverhounds and Fury. And Pittsburgh going to be happy after being down 1-0 for a majority of the game. But able to come back with that penalty back in the 77th minute. And then Corey Hertzog with 2 disallowed goals, one at the, both actually as a result of one offside, and then another one from stepping out of bounds and a late call from the assistant referee. But we'll have highlights and stats in just a moment.
With hundreds and hundreds of pre-owned vehicles for every budget, Number 1 Cochrane is the one and only place you need to shop.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochrane.com now.
Hello, Shanti. How are you
Hi,
today?
Rose. Good, thank you.
How's this pressure for you, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to do nice and light today for you.
Fighting cancer on all fronts. Allegheny Health Network.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
You could spend lots of time searching lots of used car websites. Or just visit Cochrane.com to see lots and lots of vehicles.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochrane.com now.
Welcome back to Highmark Stadium. Ryan Sudol and Albert Munoz wrapping things up and putting a bow on this 2017 USL season. In the end of this Eastern Conference contest, Pittsburgh Riverhounds won, Ottawa Fury FC won. And again, this was a game of momentum swings. It was all Ottawa early on, and then coming back, it was Pittsburgh getting that last goal and then a few good chances in the waning minutes. And we'll see how we got to that 1-1 result.
It was definitely a drastic change from the first half to the second. The first moments of the half, Ottawa all over the place. They were constantly making changes by creating chances, opportunities left and right. Definitely changed throughout the second half. I mean, we had a lot of chances switched here from Pittsburgh, but we had a great goal in the first half. Ottawa, it was a great slip-in cross, ricocheted, and it was just poached in. An exceptional goal.
And Depew was on fire all night, getting tons of shots on target. And there you see the Carl Hayworth attempt from about 40 yards out, trying to sneak it in. And you saw the first attempt in the first highlight, too. He was all over the field tonight.
He had several attempts in the first half. But Pittsburgh, I mean, definitely was a changed team going into the second, starting with this first shot at the end of the first half by Parks.
Callum Irving was also fantastic when they did have their runs. And that one, another missed opportunity, could have been the equalizer. Ottawa Bossy, who would leave the game later. And then this was the controversy for Ottawa. The legs get tangled, and if they're going to get tangled, you don't want them to be in the box. And then Corey Hertzog brings them level.
Absolutely, and this is what he does. He capitalizes on the opportunities. He knows he's a set-piece player. He knows how to capitalize, so he will. And unfortunately, he had a couple chances here that didn't go through.
And the offside just barely there as we take a look at the full-time stats. And again, they were pretty uneven all day, and possession was hugely in favor of Ottawa in the first half, and then it equaled out, and Pittsburgh took the advantage in the second. You see they definitely got 4 more shots on target in the second half, and Ottawa slowed down a little bit as well, but the 3 offside really did hurt Pittsburgh. The 2 yellow cards, after we thought they were going to be a factor early on both Corey Hertzog and Gale Igvasamande, did not seem to be a factor in the second half.
It was well-deserved for Pittsburgh. I mean, they definitely had their increase in possession, more shots on goal, and they definitely tied it up. So it was a fair game. Both ends did their part, and the season ended up with a lot of pride, momentum for the next season. There's a lot to improve on for both teams, but yeah, I think it was a fair showing for both ends.
Also great to see the lack of injuries in the final contest going into it as we take a look at the Eastern Conference standings, and the Charleston Battery with their victory now put the Tampa Bay Rowdies down to 3rd. They were in 2nd, and that is going to possibly be how we end up, and that is your Eastern Conference playoff seeding. It's going to be a very good contest going into next week, and a very, very tough match for anyone on the Eastern Conference as we take a look to the Western Conference as well. And there you have it. And there's been some bouncing in and out, and Phoenix Rising has been kind of hanging in at that 5 spot, but with a game still in hand, could jump up into a tie for that 3 and 4 spot. So Reno also with another game to go can jump into 2nd. So there's still so much excitement to be had, some games to be later tonight as well, we have no idea what's going to happen over the next month in this USL Cup playoffs.
Definitely. It's going to be very entertaining going into the playoffs, but good showing by all teams throughout the season, and this is where it matters, this is where it's going to happen, and this is how we end here. And
we do end the 2017 season on a positive note for both the Pittsburgh Riverhounds and the Ottawa Fury. Both teams walking away with a .11. Nice penalty taken by Corey Hertzog. Also that great shot by Depew, who was fantastic all night. But overall, an exciting night. But that is going to be it for us. So long from the Steel City.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.